Good afternoon and welcome to The Joy Show, where being your unique and remarkable self is truly a gift to all of us. I'd like to begin today by acknowledging that the land that we work, live, and play on is the historical and traditional territory of many Indigenous nations. And as we gather from many places on Turtle Island, we as settlers are grateful for the opportunity to meet here, and we thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years, including the Métis, Inuit, and all other Indigenous people. And though I am not a person of African descent, I am committed to continually acting in support of and in solidarity with Black communities, seeking freedom and reparative justice in light of the history and ongoing legacy of slavery that continues to impact Black communities in Canada and the US. As part of this commitment, I would also like to acknowledge that not all people came to these lands as migrants and settlers. Specifically, I wish to acknowledge those who came here involuntarily, particularly those brought to these lands as a result of the transatlantic slave trade and slavery. In support of our ongoing efforts to confront anti-Black racism, we pay tribute to these ancestors of African origin and descent. We also acknowledge the contributions made both in shaping and strengthening our community and our countries. And by making this acknowledgement, we strive to be allies and take an active part in reconciliation. What I know is that I recognize our oneness, I realize our history, and I choose to create a new reality because I know we are one. All righty, are you ready, everybody? Today, I'm so excited. We have Alberto and Mony. And Alberto is a spiritual artist, and Mony is a storyteller and pilgrim, award-winning authors of Walking for Peace. And they have got a love story that, oh, I just can't wait to hear it all and to share it with you. They walked and met at the end of the world after they had both walked individually the Camino. Well, welcome, Alberto and Mony. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for joining me.
Hello, Barbara.
Why? Is it Mony or Money?
It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. So glad you're here. So tell me.
Like Monique.
Monique. Okay. All right.
Well,
tell me about this. Tell me about
Alberto. Well, thank you first of all.
We don't hear you.
Yeah, you're
not hearing me? Uh-oh, dear. we've got some freezing happening. Oh my goodness. Okay,
Hello?
They're frozen. Oh, there we go.
Okay, how we look now?
You look marvelous.
okay.
Thank you. I knew it.
Oh, so tell me about your journey, where you met, and how this relationship got started.
Well, as you mentioned at the beginning, we met in a town called Finisterre in Spain. It literally means the end of the world. I had quit my job, essentially. I had a corporate career, and I had thrown on a backpack and had embarked on a quest, if you will, to try and understand my life, why I was all of a sudden divorced, why I was alone, why I wasn't happy in my job. I think all of the things that many people perhaps at some point or another begin to ask themselves, especially when you think you've played by the rules and you've done all the things that society asks of you. And so I literally just threw on a backpack. I started traveling by myself, and my journey landed me on the Camino, which I had heard vaguely about. This was back in the year 2001, not quite as popular as it is, today. And I just started to walk, and the journey of walking and putting one step in front of the other became the opportunity to really confront and look at all the fears that I was holding, all of the things in my day-to-day, I didn't have time to pay attention to, and to especially begin to develop a relationship with the divine. Back then, I called it the universe, the angels. And perhaps today I would call it other things, but it was that loving presence that I was learning to develop a relationship with and to learn to listen to its voice and to be guided by it. And that was a very big deal for someone who comes from a very, left brain. I have a science degree. I have an MBA, very, very left brain, logical planning, organizing. To leave that aside and say, I'm just going to walk without plans and listen to this voice and inner guidance and follow the signs and that it was leaving before me. It was a very big shift in the way that I was approaching my life. And
I know
Mhm.
walked Camino.
Yes.
You walk the Camino too?
I have not walked it.
Oh,
I have
okay.
not, but I do know a few people who have. And that time of alone and, the fears that come up, but also the awareness of who I am when all things have been stripped away. Who am I really? So
Exactly.
good for you. That's a remarkable journey. Okay, continue.
No, really that time of walking alone was invaluable because it kind of sowed the seeds and put me into the practice of learning how to listen to not just my logical voice, but to that presence that I knew was walking with me. And it was that presence through a series of coincidences that planted the seed in my mind of making another pilgrimage, going from Rome to Jerusalem on a path that is called the way of the soul, the way of the soul. And so it was, do we have time do you want me to explain a little bit of how
Yes,
it was?
please.
Well, I was told that anyone who is on a journey of spiritual awakening needs to walk 3 paths, 3 journeys, go on 3 journeys. The Camino is one journey, and it's called the pilgrimage or the way of the sword. The sword.
Oh, the strength.
Of courage. It's the place where you battle your fears. It's the place where you face all of your fears and you find the courage and the strength to continue in your life's journey. There's a path that goes from London to Rome called the Way of Love, where you explore the meaning of love in all of its dimensions, not just, romantic love and relationship love, but the greatest love that exists.
Yeah.
And then there's a path that leads to Jerusalem, a pilgrimage to Jerusalem. And that pilgrimage is called the Way of the Soul. And it's the place where you connect with your highest calling, where you connect with your purpose. And when I heard that this pilgrimage existed, it was, that's what I have to do. I have to go to Jerusalem. It was literally just like that. It was, I'm going to go to Jerusalem. That's my calling. Quickly, I found out that there is no route, there is no Camino, there's no path. It is literally going to be just walking on the side of the road. But I really felt that this was the calling. And in your heart when you've received it and this is it. And by the time I arrived in Finisterre, I said, okay, I'm determined to do this. I'm going to walk alone. But then destiny had other plans. And Alberto showed up, was in Finisterre at the same time. Yep.
Yeah. Alberto, you had just completed the Camino.
Yeah, I had already, when I meet her, I just finished my Camino like she did. It was my second time. I had gone to the Camino before, the year before. Usually the people that do the El Camino, the pilgrimage, they repeat. They usually try to go later again because it's something that enriches you, the experience, and it's a journey. And the funny things of this pilgrimage is and we like to talk about this, is an outer journey, it's a journey in the world, but it's pointing you to an inner journey. Then through that outer journey, you are going deeper to know yourself. No, that was something that I already experienced, no, in my first pilgrimage, and in this second Camino, I was living it. Like Mony, I was in my own personal quest. A few years early, I had several experiences that bring me to the acknowledgement of the spiritual journey that for many years I had kept beside. That I didn't think I was not connected to the divine anymore since I was a child. And with the Camino, with the pilgrimage, the first time that I went, I found that was a perfect way to experience and to practice what I already was learning. You study, you read books, you read courses, and you learn a lot of theory, but you need to practice it. You need to put it in practice in your day-by-day life. And a pilgrimage like the Camino, or any journey that you do with the same intention, or anything that you do in your life with the same intention to experience the truth, is a perfect way to practice this in the experience, in the day, but especially in a place that you don't know, where you don't have the usual people that you relate every day, that you don't have the same experience, you don't have the routine of every day. Then El Camino was perfect for that, because I meet a lot of new people, a lot of new places, and I had a lot of new experiences that I wouldn't have had in my home, where I come from. Then that was very enriching, and I could feel too very clear how she said, the synchronicities and the presence of the divine, the angels at that time, like her. I call it in different ways, but I knew that was the presence of God, that walk with us wherever we are. She is with us. And in these journeys, especially where we surrender to his or to her will, you can feel it even more, because you are totally focused in the journey. Then it's more clear to and more enrichment, like I said before. Then I just finished my second journey that was really amazing in what it offered to me. And there, after to be aware of the message that I received, that was a message over all things, was a message of trust, trust in life, trust in me, in God, trust in yourself, and follow my path, that I will tell you where you need to go. After receiving that message, I met Mony. I met Mony in the last city, in the end of the world, the last city of this pilgrimage, the end of the world. She was there. But at that moment, I didn't know. I didn't know that I was going to work with her and to do this other journey. But it was a moment I encountered where she told me, and to me and another pilgrims, because she didn't know me, and I didn't know her. I didn't speak English. She didn't speak Spanish at that time. But she told to the people that was there that she was thinking, she had felt the calling to go to Jerusalem, to do this other journey, this other walk for peace to Jerusalem in the way of the soul. And at that moment, I say, wow, brave. This woman is brave, is courageous. Good for her. But I didn't see myself there, because the first thing, I didn't know her at all. But like always happen, these synchronicities, when you open yourself and you say, bring me wherever you want that I go, and I will go. 2 months later, we meet again, just when, how she said before, when she was going to start, when she was going to travel to Rome. In her journey to Rome, she stopped in a city, in a town in Germany, to meet a pilgrim that she knew, that she met in El Camino. And with that pilgrim, I was there too. And we meet again, just when she was going to start the journey. And at that moment, I was asking again to life, to the universe, to God, okay, I am ready. Tell me where you want that I go. And I was feeling that God was telling me, be patient. You are going to know. You are going to know where you need to go. And when she arrived to Bonn. The moment that I went with this pilgrim to meet her, I didn't think that was going to be the path. I started to see signs everywhere. Balloons, these balloons that
hot air balloons,
hot air balloons that are going up. Signs in the streets say, here it is. So this is the next step. Synchronicities like that, very clear. And after, when she offered to me to walk, she offered to me and to another pilgrim to walk with her to Jerusalem. For me was again a new chain, a new very big chain in my life. But the signs were very clear. I asked in meditation to God, this is what you want, and the answer was very clear. Yes, this is not only what I want. This is what you want, but you don't know yet. But this is what you want. And this is how I started, the journey together in some way.
Yeah, because really, I was only asking to be polite.
Yeah.
I wasn't asking, expecting anybody to say yes.
If you want to come,
it's like, hey, if you want to join us, come. It's like, and my friend, the pilgrim friend, who in the book we name Hannah said, no, I've just come back from a year sabbatical. I can't go on another journey. But Alberto said, Yeah, this is
Well,
and
I didn't say yeah. I was really shocked because
yeah.
I had said to the universe, I had said to God, if you really want, because I was feeling you are going with this woman to Jerusalem. I don't
Yeah.
know her. She had not asked to me. If you want that I go, she need to ask me directly. She need to ask me directly that go with her. And in that case, I will think about. I say clear to God that. And the next day, she asked it to the other pilgrim, and after, when she say no, she looked to me. She went, well, but if you want, I would love that you can. If you want to can. And then in that moment, I couldn't deny anymore, because I had asked for a clear sign. I had asked if really wanted to go. And then I needed to think and to start to think, because I knew that I was going in another big change in my life, because all that I had at that moment in my life needed to be stopped. I was working, I was, I was in
a
relationship, in many projects, and I needed to leave everything behind again for a journey that I didn't know. I had never go to Jerusalem or so far, a pilgrimage in these characteristics that were so, unknown, because El Camino is easy, because El Camino, you had places to stay every day, you had yellow arrows, it's very organized. But this journey that she was thinking to do, there was nothing organized. You needed to do by yourself, and to look for your accommodations, and to look the route that is not a specific route. It was all very, very wild in some way. But I knew that as I was doing that, I knew this is I had learned with the Camino, and I had seen the hand of God and the providence in El Camino in Spain, what I'm going to see in this new journey. And that is what the Spirit was telling me. Come, because what you want, you are going to find here. This is your next step.
Yeah.
And that was the reason because I finally accepted, and I say, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
That's so powerful, because I think so often we get so caught up in logistics and, what's right and wrong, am I doing the right thing? And in that moment of true surrender, just take me, all of a sudden doors open and things happen, and it's completely different than you ever expected, but ends up being richer and more rewarding than ever imagined. And you found love.
True. It's well, not at the beginning.
Not at the beginning, because at the beginning, the first thing I didn't want, and she didn't either. We didn't want a relationship. We didn't want to go out of our spiritual path.
Exactly.
And we know that a relationship, you fall in love, you become a little crazy, and you lose all the nerve, a bit. And we didn't want nothing of that. We are going to be continually feeding in our path, in the spirit. The spiritual path is the only thing. And of course, I am not going to look, not her, not anybody.
Yeah.
And that was clear for us at the beginning.
Yeah, and truly, like in the beginning, we were strangers. We didn't know anybody. Like we didn't know each other.
We couldn't speak between each other.
Like, I mean, here we were, and we were thrown together, and that's how it felt like. We were thrown together. I started walking a little earlier than him, because he needed to tie up whatever he was tying up, his life in Germany. And so I started walking, and then we met up 2 weeks later. But really, he was a stranger to me. He was he was a stranger. He was we were trying to figure out how to walk together. I was trying, I understood, and I felt the same hand of destiny bringing us together, but we really needed to learn about each other. I didn't know him. He didn't know me. We didn't speak each other's languages, as he said. And here we are in Italy, where nobody speaks either English or Spanish. And so we were trying to figure out, how do we manage in Italian? How do we communicate? How do we get to know each other? How do we walk together? How do we stay loyal to what each of us believes and not lose ourselves? So there was no romantic anything in the beginning, which no one believes.
The first thing that we learned to say in every language was the word friends.
Friends.
We are not a relationship. We are not a couple. We are friends. We are partners. Amici,
Priatelli,
all the
amigos. So really, that was. But we both felt the calling of the divine. This was above all else what brought us together. is. And we each had maybe our own way of interpreting what that meant and how to interpret that. And so we were also learning how to do that together, because maybe a sign for me was not interpreted in the same way as a sign for him. And so we had to really find a way to, okay, how do we walk together? It's a learning of how to respect what you feel your calling is, and at the same time do that with another person together. And by the way, that's something that you continue to do here and now. It's not something that just ends when you're on a pilgrimage, but it was a great practice. It was a great way of practicing how to listen to the voice of the divine. And as much as I didn't want to admit it in the beginning, that voice often spoke through him. He would tell me things and I say no, because I want to do it my way. This is my journey, my path.
You can imagine that the story had many steps, but at the beginning, she was clear. And for me too, in some way, that it was her idea, it was her journey. She was the one that wanted to arrive to Jerusalem for peace. She had some schedules, and I was somebody that had joined her in her journey. That was the idea at the beginning. And for me, I accepted it. Yeah, of course. Whatever I need to receive, I will receive in this path. But very clear, very soon, was becoming clear and clear that I had something to say too. And I needed to make choices and decisions that couldn't be attached to the ideas that she had about how to do the journey. I needed to be attached to the ideas that I was receiving, that I needed to walk in a certain way. For that reason, in more than one occasion, we almost split. We thought about it because we were fighting and we were, this doesn't make sense. But always we arrive to the conclusion, very clear too. Let's stop a moment. We need to find here agreement. We need to find here, because we are working for peace. How we are going to be working for peace? 10 people that were working for peace, and after each one is going to to break and to go, we need to find a way. Must be another way, no? Like the Course in Miracles say, must be another way to do this, where we are honor our calling,
Yeah. And isn't that the journey that we're on? I mean, peace doesn't happen because there is no conflict. Peace happens when we choose peace in the midst of what we don't understand, we're not quite comfortable with. In the midst of chaos, we choose peace. And that's where it gets birthed. So what a powerful journey for the two of you. That's remarkable.
I mean, really, the journey really ultimately became about being willing to own up to the fears that each one of us had, to the expectations that each one of us carries, to the the limited ideas that we have, the shackles that we put on ourselves. And peace cannot come forth in the same way that love cannot come forth until all of those barriers to peace and to love are removed. And those are the fears, and all of those this is the stuff that we were looking at every day. And because we understood that this was a spiritual journey, even though in the beginning I didn't want to say it out loud, this was one of the conflicts between us.
Another thing.
That was one of the big conflicts. My spirituality, I'll keep to myself. We can talk about it, but we're not going to talk to the media about it. We're not going to talk to anybody else about this unless they ask specifically. So, so the understanding was that, this was an opportunity to truly look at all of the things that are limiting this peace from coming forward into the world. And we both understood that, and we both tried very hard, even though we had our disagreements and whatever, to realize, like, this is my fear, this is my judgment, this is why I'm not able to speak authentically when I would really like to be able to do that. And so that was the journey too. That was the journey of, the removing of the layers, so that peace can come forward.
Yeah, and it's so interesting to listen to the story of your journey, because really, I think sometimes when people think about peace, they think, well, it just means that there is no conflict, there is no problem. Somehow I just let it all be perfect. And the truth is that life is messy. And whenever two or more people are brought together, it just accelerates the mess, so that we learn how to be with one another. I mean, we are one, and yet we have this individualized essence that, you know, we're striving for our individuality. We're trying to find our voice in the world. And I think as women, we're even stronger with that, trying to push against the male domination. There would be some resistance there as well, I would think, especially with a man you don't know, all of a sudden telling you what you should or should not be doing, right? Where we're headed. So I love that journey for peace. It's, you know, I think sometimes we forget that it comes with bumps in the road, that we need to navigate and choose peace.
Yeah, we have to be willing. I mean, one of the greatest, I mean, Ho'oponopono gets into this, teaching gets into this, the Course gets into this, that relationship, what relationship offers you is the unparalleled opportunity to be able to look at what it is within me that I really need to be giving to the Holy Spirit, or giving to God or to the angels, to be corrected, so that I may see my partner truly. And in seeing him truly, I recognize my if I see the brilliance in him, the Christ in him, what the Course will call the Christ, if I see the perfection that God created, that's beyond the body, that's beyond the apparent conflict we're having, that's beyond this veil that's keeping us and wanting to keep us separate. If I'm able to give all of that part to the Holy Spirit or to God or to the angels, and truly sit in the presence of peace and allow that peace in him, or that love and that brilliance in him to come to me, then that is what the power of relationship offers you, is that. And if you can practice it and live it truly and be committed to that with one person, and the person that usually pushes your buttons because you're 24/7, you're with them. If you're able to do that with them continually, then it becomes the foundation for being able to do that and to share that with others. So that's power with relationship.
That's beautiful. I love that. We're going to take a short commercial break, and then we're going to be right back so we can just go a little deeper and talk about the book you wrote as well. Books. There's so much. All right. You're watching The Joy Show, Just One You, and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Watch me change when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change.
And we're back. So we've been talking about this journey of peace that you did to Jerusalem, and the loving energy that got formed from there. So let's talk a little bit more about how your relationship actually evolved into the marriage that it is today.
You know, I would like to say in the advertising that had been now, it was saying when you look, when you change the way you look at things, the thing that you look change. In some way, our relationship, to fall in love with each other, it was something unthinkable. 3 months or 4 months after we started to work was unthinkable, because we were almost going to break in more than one occasion. We were fighting, and we was, you know, I had a lot of judgments about the way that she was doing, especially, what she has said before. She didn't want to talk, to say to show the spiritual side of her journey, especially with the media, with the newspapers when they interview us in the way. And that was one of the main, or the principal conflict that we have, because I wanted to tell my truth. I wanted to say,
to be authentic.
To be authentic.
Exactly.
And then I had a lot of judgment about that. And for that reason, never we thought about to be involved romantically, in the journey. But arrived one day that we had a huge fight, and we were in Macedonia, very close to Greece.
Yeah.
Very close to Greece already.
Ohrid.
In Ohrid.
Yeah.
And we had a huge fight that night, because I said, I'm not going to quiet anymore. I'm going to say her the truth. Because it happened something else. There were many things mounting. I can. And that night I went and I say to her, you are that and that. You are not authentic. You say one thing and think another. With me, you are so spiritual, and we pray together and we do meditation. But when we are with the people, all is about peace in the world. Only physical, peace, not war, but nothing inside, not the inner. That is. And I had a lot of judgment about that. But when we had that fight that night, and she could say what she thought too. And she opened herself vulnerable, and I opened myself vulnerable. And I could see and understand what was moving her. It was like a veil came down, because I was not only talking to her to fight or to attack her. I wanted to understand, and because I believed that she could change too, and I wanted to see another part of herself. Then in that way, in that fight, I don't know what happened, but my way of thinking, my way of look at her changed. I was open to that too. If I would have been stubborn, I wouldn't have seen that. But I was open to see that. And then that fight that we had, tremendous fight, that was almost sure that we were going to be apart.
For sure.
Yeah.
When at the end of the conversation, I could see her, I understood. It was clear to me, I have been wrong all the time. She's a good person. She's trying to do the best with what she can. She's only afraid. She's only, but she, at the same time that she's afraid, she's brave. She's here. She had quit everything. And she's looking, maybe not publicly, but she's doing her inner journey with courage and putting all at the risk. And then I could see another version, another interpretation of the same thing. Yeah. And at the next morning, I felt that I had fallen in love with her. I was only from the previous night to the next morning was only a change of perspective, a change of perception that the course will tell you. And I could see in her the light. I could see in her the Christ. I could see in her the spark that was moving all that. And I saw a beautiful spark. Independently of what the actions of the things that could be happening, I could see. And that was when the next morning she saw me. I said, what happened to you? Nothing. Do you want I carry your backpack too? It's very heavy too.
I started my backpack.
And she was, what happened to you?
Well, it's interesting how vulnerability is the key to cracking down those walls that we build between each other when we get raw and real. And, the fear is gone and the truth sort of shoots out in many ways. But it is like a veil has been lifted. And all of a sudden that wall between the hearts is no longer there, and the connection, that real connection of the Christ consciousness, can absolutely occur, but it requires that vulnerability. That's powerful. I love that.
Yeah. And was a lot of judgment that they have, because if I would have fixed only in the idea that, she's lying or she's not being honest with, you stay there in the more superficial, it's true. It's true. She's not being honest maybe with some people. But if you go deeper and you look inside, you go beyond the clouds, like the Course says, you go beyond the clouds, and you try to see what really is there. You can see that always there is love. Always there is light there. And that is what I saw. And when I saw that, I fall. And
Then the love.
that was the beginning, because after came a lot of problems. It was not so easy later that,
Yeah.
but that
Yeah.
was the beginning, the beginning of our romantic relationship that started with me, the spark, and after she.
And there was resistance on my part in the beginning. I did not want this relationship because, like he said in the beginning, it makes that relationships make you crazy. And the biggest fear I had was that this would divert us off of the path.
Exactly.
We were here together for a purpose, and that purpose was to do this pilgrimage to Jerusalem. And I did not want to be distracted by that. I did not want a romantic relationship. And in the beginning, I didn't have that feeling for him. I mean, I appreciated him. I cared for him. I saw his goodness from the very first day that I met him. I could see. What you mean? And it's sense of humor.
Humor's always great.
that I could see, but I did not want the romantic entanglement because I did not want to be taken off of a path that had taken me a long time to get to. I had, taken a long time to be able to have that confidence and that courage to walk and to do this, and I didn't want to be distracted. And it was tense in the first couple of weeks of him, trying and me pulling away, and that caused even more arguments and more attention. And what shifted it for me, anyways, was a moment of tremendous vulnerability. What you mentioned before, we had arrived in Greece. It was the town called Edessa. I had eaten something that didn't sit well, and here I was vomiting. I was vomiting and sitting and vomiting.
So sick.
I was very sick. I was trembling. I was shaking, and he was there. He was there with me. He held, the hair off my face. He was washing my face. He was cleaning up everything, even though it was in the tub. Like he was cleaning everything, and he was there and looked after me and cared for me. And then, made me brush my teeth, and brought me to bed and put me to bed. And it was that moment of realizing that it's only love that would do something like this. It's love. Right. Only love would do this. And that was when my barrier fell, when my veil, with him fell. And then since then, that's when the relationship began, but it also brought other things, other fears, right? Other things that you have to look at when you enter into this kind of romantic relationship.
And this is perfect because we have not talked, we have talked before about the relationship in other interviews and all that, but never we have talked from this perspective so clear that I see now. We are studying the course for a few years now, and we are involved totally every day. We are doing the lessons, we're together, we are working together, and there is a connection about this holy relationship, how a special relationship can change to be holy relationship that connect totally with the story that we are telling here. Our biggest problem or biggest barrier was our fear to lose our inner journey. The more important for us was the journey of the soul. When we arrive to the conclusion, and we talk about that a lot, so we don't need to lose our inner journey. We can strengthen it together. I can support your inner journey. You can support my inner journey, and together we are going to work together. And it's in some moment we felt that God say us, it's okay. It's okay until now. Now we know for the course that it's not necessary, but because in the moment that you join in the purpose, you join in the more holy purpose that you can have, that is the spiritual path. The path to know yourself, the path to walk beyond the physical, to go to the truth of who we are. Then the special relationship that is special because have other purpose different of that become holy because you have unite the holy purpose that you have with the holy purpose that another had, and then a holy relationship had been created there. And that was when we committed. Even when we did a ceremony, I buy her we buy rings, with our spiritual names. Our vows was especially to follow the path and to help each other in that, and that is the greatest thing. And that was what for that reason became a holy relationship. That is what the course say. Now our work is to be capable to see the Christ not only in each other but in everybody. to see the Christ in you,
Yes.
Barbara, to see the Christ in every creature in the world, to see the Christ in the neighbor, and everybody, even when still the appearance can show another thing and can show conflict. No, I know that behind all these clouds and all that I see still, that is the Christ in everything in life. And
there
then,
is only good.
exactly. And then in the holy relationship is a great help to do that.
Yeah.
Whatever, and doesn't need to be a romantic relationship.
I was gonna say,
Can be a friend, can be a brother, can be somebody that has the same holy purpose that you have, and you say, let's go to work together.
Yeah.
And
Let's
that
walk together.
become one of the most powerful things that exists. Is not the most in this world that still we are dreaming, no, we are projecting.
I love that. I love that. And so you co-authored the book, Walking for Peace.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about the book.
Well, it was a journey in itself that took about 7 to 8 years. And pretty much every fight that we had during our walk, we relived when we were writing the book. Because once again, it was how I want to do it and how he wanted to do it. How, what was important for him and what was important for me. Are we going to talk about spirituality or not spirituality?
There was a lot of thing about to be authentical again.
Yeah,
the same that in the past.
Same issues.
I am capable, I had the courage to say publicly to my family, to my friends, what I believed at that time and what I did and what I said. That was one of the first, the biggest barriers too at the same time.
That's right. So it took us about 7, 8 years to walk through it. We had to leave it behind more than once because it was threatening the peace of the relationship and the harmony and everything. And what the threat of separation, the same things that happened during walking were happening as we were reliving it. And so it was another opportunity to be able to allow that to be healed, and especially for me, to allow that true, authentic voice that I knew wanted to speak through me, for that to come through in the writing. I wanted to write the book that would sell. And his insistence was that, no, we are going to write the truth of what was happening to us. And so the journey for me became about having the confidence to face all those fears of what everybody's going to say, what everybody's going to think, and all of that, so that the truth can actually talk through this book. And so that's how it came about.
The course says what people think of you is none of your business.
Yeah. That's it. That's exactly it.
It's in the world that we see still in the dream, what we see are all projections of the ego. Then
True.
In the moment that you are afraid that somebody is going to think bad or is going to interpret bad or have some you are going to see that because you are projecting that in the world. So until you don't see the Christ, or you don't open at least yourself to change the way that you look at things and to try to see the Christ beyond anything and anybody, you are going to be seeing what you want to see. Then it's difficult. It's difficult because everything outside is telling a book like that is not going to sell. Only to a few weirdos that they believe in what to think or whatever. It's right in this way. You write like a march for peace to create peace between Palestinians and Israelis and in the world. You write that is going to be a success for sure. But this is not what happened. What happened was beyond that. It was much higher than that. Then it was, it's not easy because the world is going, and while you still have beliefs that this world of physicality and ego and competition is real, you are going to see proofs, witnesses of that you are believing. Then in some moment you need to break and to say, whatever I see, I don't mind. This is what I believe, what my inner voice is telling, the spirit is telling me, and I'm going to follow this path. And then when you can see the miracles, you will see the miracles because the world will show you what you have chosen.
And in your heart, there's, that doesn't require, when it's truth, when you are writing from the part of your mind or speaking from that part of your mind that's trying to impress other people or to get them to like you or to get them on your side. That's not necessarily speaking from truth, from authenticity, from spirit. And so this is, whether it was walking, whether it's writing, whether it's speaking, ultimately it is a practice of allowing what is truth to come through what is in this moment my voice, his voice, into expression in the world. This is what we are essentially here to do, whether it's through his illustrations, whether it's through this conversation that we're having. We are the practice, and it is practice. It is the practice of saying, I'm putting my own, all my fears and all of whatever doubts and insecurities, those I give to what the Course calls the Holy Spirit. I give them to God. I give them to that voice which will take care of them for me, so that I am clear to listen to his voice and to allow his words, her words, to flow through me into this instant. This is the practice.
It is the practice. It is about listening to that inner knowing, that inner guide that says, here's what's being called for now. And it's interesting how we resist it. It's like, there's this little voice going, do this, do this, do this. And there's a part of us going, I don't think so. I'm doing that. So I think that's the journey that we're on continually, is being willing to be vulnerable, to be courageous, and to stand in the consciousness of the one and allow the energy to flow unencumbered. And that for us, because, we kind of like to control things, like we have any.
Really?
That's the grand illusion that we have control.
Yeah. It's fear, it's the fear to the consequences, the fear to, we had a belief system that proof itself is showing us all the time what we really believe, what we want, and then it's confirming. We are confirming what we believe with what we see. Because you see what I told you that this will happen, and there it is. Because we are putting it there. We talk about that in the last, it's a loop. But there is
you'll see it.
Exactly. But there is something with you that know the way. And that is the salvation. This is salvation. That is because me alone, Albertito alone, he wouldn't know. He would have not a clue. Trying to control all the possibilities and all the things that can happen and all no, but there is one with each of us in all of us, because we are one, we are the same one that is guiding us, that know the way and know what is the best for you and know what is the more convenient. Know who you are, that you have no idea. I have no idea who I am, even when I think that I know now. I know now, after so many years of spiritual search, I know who I am. I had no idea. I cannot see the light of what I am. I cannot see to be one with God. You cannot imagine that, to see the holy, perfect Son of God. You cannot imagine what is that. We are coming close, but still we have no idea. The one that knows, that part of our mind that knows, is with us from the very beginning and is guiding and is ready to show us the way. It's beside us all the time with infinite patience to say, stop. Listen, I will tell you what to do. And really it's a work of being trusting more and more in that voice, because we know that voice is there, but we are afraid to listen. We are afraid to listen sometimes because you don't want that tell you something that you don't want to.
True. Something against your plans. Well, come on.
Well, and there are always things that we do get told that we go, wait a minute, I don't want to do that. That's the part, that we resist, right? We sit back and go, I don't want to go there. I remember years ago, because I've been married 5 times, right? So I've had lots of practice getting it wrong, but I finally got it right. And it's interesting. I was doing a church service and speaking on Mother's Day and giving this lesson. And the voice in the back of my head says, say you were married 5 times, like say that. And I'm like, I ain't saying that. They'll never have me back. I'll be judged. I'll be stoned. I'll be whatever, right? And finally, I blurted out, and there's this whisper that goes through the conversation. What did she say? And then I follow it up with, I thought I'd give Liz Taylor a run for her money, but I fell short. I met the right person, and I became the right person. At the end, when I'm chatting with women afterwards, because I kept thinking, oh my gosh, they will never have me back. Afterwards, I had probably 11 or 12 women come up to me, some of them in tears, going, that is the first and most honest message I've ever heard from a minister. And I'm so grateful that you gave voice to, you know, what I'm feeling, what's going on for me, and that sort of thing. It was really powerful, but it was that vulnerability and it was getting a push from the inside, right? It's spirit
Yeah.
going, okay, it's time. Go
Yeah.
ahead and talk about it, because it's easy just to go, yes, I'm happily married.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, there's our agenda. What is the ego
There is.
agenda? And then there is what the Holy Spirit knows you absolutely need in order to wake up, and in order to what it calls to wake up everybody around you. And so you're not going alone here. You know,
No,
it's not
it's
just you,
collective.
it's everyone with you. And
Yeah.
the more that you're able to allow that voice and that
Yeah.
truth to speak through you, it knows exactly the words and how they will land and how they will be used everywhere. And so,
Every time. Yeah. And well, that's what's powerful, right? Is that journey of surrendering,
right.
right? And surrendering is sort of giving into that highest potential. It's not a limitation, it's an expansion.
exactly,
Exactly.
exactly.
And
Because-
that's what
yeah.
we miss sometimes, right?
Yes, yes. And you know, one of the, now that you're telling about the 5 marriage, the biggest impediment or the barrier is what we are ashamed or afraid to
Yeah.
to show. You know,
Yes.
and the course talk about that a lot. You need to bring
Yeah.
the cold darkness. You need to bring it to the
Yeah.
light. You cannot hide it. You cannot keep secrets. This doesn't mean that you talk to everybody. I think no, but the first thing you need to look, okay, what is that I'm afraid to share? Let's go to bring it here and to see truly with the spirit, what is this? What really happened here? It was a
Yeah.
sin, it was something terrible, or was simply a error, simply was a mistake, or
Yeah.
simply was whatever it was. You know, don't be afraid to bring it out. And when you are not afraid to bring it out and to look at, you are not afraid to share it with others.
Yeah.
Because others can learn too about that. There is nothing bad to bring that out and to look at and to say, you know, it was an honest mistake. I didn't know better. You know, you or whatever, you know, the situation. I didn't know better, and this is what happened. But I am ready. Now the course tells you, so is you can accept that you don't know anything, but you are ready to know.
Yes.
Everything will be shown to you.
Exactly.
Yes.
You first need to accept. You can say, I don't know anything, and I don't know. I'm thinking that this was bad, or this was terrible, or it was. I don't know anything. I'm bringing it out, and I am open to see this from another way. I'm open to see the truth in this. I'm open to see the truth in me. And then the fear goes, the shame goes, the guilt goes, and something new come outside. And after you see that everybody has his secrets of his things, and when you are liberating yourself, you are helping to others to do the same, to liberate themselves too.
Well, that's it, right? We learn from one another, and the words that are spoken are ones that, you know, everybody, whoever's listening, it is a gift for them as well. So that moving from shame, allowing yourself to be vulnerable, is such a powerful part of life, and so important if we want to experience joy.
Yeah.
Now, you've written some children's books, and Alberto, your art is hanging behind you, which is
well, there are some pieces that
so
there because need to be done.
But you've got children's books as well that I am happy. Yes.
Yes.
I love that.
That came as a result of affirmations that we used to speak to our daughter.
Yeah.
That's how it began, with affirmations. Before she would go to bed, we would tell her, start talking to her about, you know, who she is. You know, I am, you know, I am powerful. I am strong.
I am happy girl.
I
am a spark of the light.
I am a spark of light. Exactly.
You know, all this kind. And this brought the idea to create a children's tale.
Yeah.
And the character Angela is based
on our daughter.
In our daughter when she was
that age. Yeah. And that particular copy is in 3 languages, because we saw that there are many families who speak more than one language in their home, and so it's English and French.
Our home is French and English. My husband is French Canadian, and our daughter is fully bilingual. She's been schooled in French right from beginning, and it's important to have more languages.
Indeed.
I love that. So what other children, like you had
Oh.
another children's book as
Yeah,
well?
we gained some awards with this one, and then years later we felt the call to create
A second book?
a sequel that is My Family and I. Should be there too.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. My
Sorry,
family.
it's My Family and I. I also, again, 3 languages.
Yeah, 3 languages.
But it's also, in this case, expanding our definition of what is family.
What is family? Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
expanding it. And so, you know, including out to the universal family, our one human family, and getting us to look beyond just what is just near, just people closest to us. And that ultimately we are part of a universal family.
Yeah, beyond the body.
Beyond the body,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's a really important message, especially as we look at the things that are changing right now with, you know, Indigenous lives and Black lives, and just the way in which people tend to separate when separation truly is the illusion.
Exactly.
And, you know, how we come together acknowledging that there's only one race of people, the human race, and it's sort of dropping down those walls that have given the illusion of separation. Yes, it looks like you're there and I'm here, but the truth is there is no space between us. There is that infinite energy, that divine presence. So I think I love this, My Family and I. That is fantastic. And I've been writing children's books as well. I just started doing a series called Just One You. And so I gotta start publishing them now. That's right. Oh, Coloring the Soul. That's beautiful.
Yeah, this was a coloring book that we did with some for a few years. I was doing portraits of the soul.
Yes,
that were symbolic representations of who we are beyond the physical, with messages from the divine. And then I did hundreds of them, and then from a few ones of them, I created this coloring book with the art line of each one,
and an inspirational message with each image,
exactly.
A channeled message with each of the images.
Exactly. She channeled the message from the image, and I did the illustrations, and that was a beautiful. I had to make another couple of books. I had 2 or 3 more that I can make. With time, maybe I will bring them.
Yay. Well, we're coming to the end of our time. I can't believe it. Oh, and Mony, you have this channelings book as well.
Yeah, you know what? I know we're short for time. I will say this is when we talk about being vulnerable, and we talk about allowing them, exposing kind of yourself completely to the world. This is the result of that, because I received channeled messages, and I needed to have the courage to share them. And Walking Alone is for pilgrims. It's for pilgrims who are looking to prepare beyond just the physical journey, the emotional, spiritual, and mental journey that goes with being a pilgrim.
Yeah, so, and even when the name is Walking Alone, what is showing is that you're not walking alone. No, that is something.
We're never alone. That's the reality. Well, I'm so glad we had this conversation. I'm going to have you back.
With pleasure.
We have scratched the surface of what it is that you have to share. So I will connect with you, and we will find another time. One final thought. You got about 15 seconds.
Ooh.
For me, it's what we always say: we never walk alone. We are never alone. That loving presence is with us, in us, around us, in every single instant. It is love.
Yes,
it is,
and that is the purpose too of our life. The real purpose. There is no purpose that go beyond that. Is love, and is the inner journey. Is to know who we are, and what we are is love. Yeah,
exactly. Well, I love both of you, and I'm so grateful.
And you
here. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I love you. I'm going to have you back. And for everybody watching, thank you for being here. This is The Joy Show. We will be back next week with another great show. Thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe, like, and comment, share, all that good stuff. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Bye.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network. Come be you. And please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace and blessings.